Yeah, the Consensual put something out, where AC is responding to some kind of a stabbing incident. Again, this probably isn't gonna be a react. This is just like killing time for me. So I'm kind of curious what stabbing incident we're talking about here.
Welcome, everyone. Rich, how was your week of being a police officer? I almost got in a fight with a bridesmaid. A stabbing that I showed up to turned into a homicide. And a rookie told me a story about how I surprised him on a traffic stop. Lots been going on.
Which one do you...
I kind of want the knife one. Yeah, I was going to say start with the stabbing.
Stabby.
When you got there?
Well, I influenced him. So this is pretty quick. We heard a call out over the radio. So when I'm at work during my day shift, we've got, actually my wife handed it to me and then took it away because it was still on. Brought it home with me. I have my radio on, and so do the other guys in the office, because you'll hear violent domestics get put out over the air, and if it's violent enough or hairy enough, you'll hear the red flags. Like somebody stabbed, somebody shot, or and
I just put my 2 cents in it. Yeah, you'll hear on police radios, if shit's hitting the fan, when an officer is calling something in, you'll hear the yelling and screaming in the background. And most cops, if they hear yelling and screaming in the background of an officer calling in, they're jumping in cars, they're going code 4, and they're hauling ass to wherever that officer is, because obviously shit's going down. That's kind of normal for cops.
Uncle beat the shit out of Jerry because Jerry slept with their daughter. Something like that, right? So you keep your ears out for the radio in case somebody goes over the air and says, hey, is SVU available? We got to give them a call for the situation. Most of the time, it's just to ask us questions. Hey, this guy did this. What should we do? Is this a crime? Should we arrest him now? Should we bring him to you? Or a lot of it's questions to do with like juveniles and like missing persons.
Well, GBP, it depends on the jurisdiction. Every police agency has their own code for going lights and sirens. Sometimes it's code 3, sometimes it's code 4. It depends on the jurisdiction. It depends on the individual departments.
Who qualifies as a missing person? If you have a warrant, you don't qualify as a missing person because we're already trying to find you. So stuff like that. Well, the other day, stabbing came out, and it came out as girlfriend is in her house, ex-boyfriend
sometimes
breaks in,
yeah.
She stabs him, right? It happens like that. And so
stabbings are very fast.
That's a violent domestic. Nick, you have your hand raised. Yes, you, fat guy in the front.
Was this like a pocket knife or like a full-on kitchen knife?
Good question, Nicholas. I'm glad you asked. It was a fillet knife. However, if you're not...
Fash! Okay, I've seen fillet knives in action. Oh, fuck me. That is easily one of the worst knives you can be attacked with. You get touched by a fillet knife, you're losing chunks of skin. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, that would be the worst thing to hear. It's a fillet knife. God.
Not sure what a fillet knife is. It's like one of the long, thin knives they use to like fillet things, get in between the bones and get as much meat as you can off the bone. Except most of them are like 6 inches. This one was like 10.
Oh, yeah, good. They can be
like
big.
10-inch fillet knife.
Super long enough to reach all the important stuff.
Yeah.
And slip past ribs.
And small enough to pick the vital ones. Yes.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you just need a little whoop, how you doing? And that's kind of what happened. Is I show up on scene with my partner, and there's a good amount of blood on the outside. We didn't even go upstairs into the apartment yet. We sent another detective from our SVU unit to go right to the hospital because patrol was saying he lost a lot of blood, which in police code is, this bitch might die. She stuck him. He might be going away. So I sent one of our SVU detectives to the hospital to sit there and see how, if it
Giggle fingers, 100% worse than chef's knife. I am not exaggerating when I said that a fillet knife is the worst fucking thing that can be pulled out on someone in terms of the level of damage it can cause. If someone pulls a fillet knife on you, fucking run. Like, don't even fuck with it. If you see someone pull out a fillet knife, fucking run. You are not defending yourself against a fillet knife. It is hands down the worst knife to be attacked with. Hands down. There is no worse knife to be attacked with than a fillet knife. It's designed to slice shit up with the barest minimum of effort. Wolfie, no. Disagree. It is easily worse than the K-Bone. Oh. Hi, Selena. Hello, Raiders. How's it going? Selena. Okay, Selena. You back me up on this. Selena, I need you to back me up on this. Is there any worse of a knife to get attacked with than a fillet knife? Is there any knife that is worse to be attacked with than a fillet knife? Back me up here. No, fillet knife worse than stiletto. Fillet knife worse than a Bowie. Fillet knife worse than a meat cleaver. Why? Because fillet knives, anything serrated, I still disagree with Selena. For this reason, I have good reason. A fillet knife is specifically designed to impart maximum damage with minimal effort. It's designed to shear flesh with just a flick of the wrist. All the other stuff you're talking about, the caber, it can break in the body, the cleaver, chef's knife, etc. Scalpel is bad, but a fillet knife is about as sharp as a scalpel, Chris, only it's a lot fucking bigger. Kukri? No, it's
Well, both
kukri
of my
smaller.
siblings got cut by a wizard power knife at this one food processor plant. Cheer
Okay, well,
100.
Power knife is something different, JRC. That's a little bit different. But, yeah. The fillet knife is fucking scary because if you accidentally get bumped with it, you could lose a chunk of flesh just by getting bumped by it. Okay, that's how fucking scary. Obsidian blades are sharper, G-Men, but they are not common. The obsidian knives, you are correct. Obsidian knives are indeed sharper. They are highly uncommon though. A fillet knife you can buy at any fucking Walmart. You can buy a fillet knife from literally any Walmart. Alex, I'm gonna disagree because one of the key points with the fillet knife is it's flexible because the physical blade itself, not the edge, the physical blade itself is so thin and flexible. That's what makes it so dangerous. It's like the entire body of the knife of the blade is so thin that the edge makes it that much thinner and just slices right through you. But it's still hardy enough to stab with. It's fucking scary. It's absolutely fucking scary. Yeah, I mean, like, look up YouTube videos of a butcher, of a skilled butcher using a fillet knife. It will fucking terrify you. Because you see what a butcher can do with a fillet knife, and now imagine that being done to a person. It would have the same fucking effect. It would have the absolute same effect as if he was slicing up some beef.
Got better or got worse, you know, the ups and downs of medical procedures. And, you know, just trying to not die. It's hairy sometimes. And then the female, well, I'm just going to say she's a subject at that moment because we're not sure if she's defending herself or what's going on. She's sitting in the back of a cop car, you know, because obviously she did the stabbing. We got to figure out, you know, if this is justified self-defense or what. And as we're there trying to get like a base level of information, what's going on, I keep texting my buddy that's at the hospital. I'm like, hey, give me some heads up on, you know, like how he's doing. If he's in surgery, if blah, 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 what's going on. He's like, you got it. So we're there. We're getting information. I have a recording device out and I'm recording 2 witnesses that were there. that like helped give aid and call 911. And also, very importantly, listen to what the woman was saying, right? We call them spontaneous utterances, right?
Yes.
So,
okay, we've heard this before.
Hypothetically, I'm not going to say what she said because this is an ongoing case. So I'll use a hypothetical from a different thing. If somebody, Ethan, if you stabbed Nick in the neck, and then Eli came over and was like, oh my God, Nick's bleeding from the neck. And then you... Tourniquet. Yeah, very good. That's what I would do tonight.
Okay, thank you.
And then, Ethan, you turn over to Eli and go, oh my God, I stabbed him in the neck, but I didn't think that would happen. That is a very important statement that Eli would then give to me, and I would notate and say, obviously this person admitted to stabbing them, not thinking this would happen, kind of shows intent. There wasn't an intent to kill him. You didn't think that would happen. So we can already determine this could be reckless or self-defense, whatever, right? So I write down all these witnesses' statements on what they did, and I'm recording them while they're telling it to me. Because in the back of my head, I'm also like, all right, Richard, you better do good on this, because if this turns into a homicide, you better not be the reason that this shit's all f***ed up. So you better do your shit right and make sure that this is prepped for homicide in case they need to get involved. Which is...
Jack, give me 1 second. It seems like the DoorDash driver's wandering around aimlessly. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. We can finish the video now.
A little bit of foreshadowing. So...
Weird question. Is there like a hierarchy, or is it just based off of the crime? Like as soon as it becomes a homicide, even if there's assault involved, like you're hands off, or you work with them? Like
homicides, no, death is the highest crime that you can commit. I mean, relatively so. You could say that, assault is pretty bad too.
Yeah.
But, you can live after. You can't live after death,
Yeah,
It
is rather permanent.
Hell! Unless you're an immoral like in Highlander, like we were talking about earlier, then you'll live after death.
Live after death, Richard High.
Hashtag. Can't live after death, Unless you believe in the one true power. Jesus Christ. Savior. Anyway, so...
Good night, Wombat.
I'm gathering, like I said, I'm gathering the information. I'm walking around the exterior of the building. I'm seeing where where the guy was sitting before he got picked up by medical and taken to the hospital, and writing all this down, prepping just in case. And then I get, phone calls and text messages from my buddy who's at the hospital. And he's like, hey, guy coded a couple times. They brought him back. He lost a lot of blood. He's got a bag in his chest now that's trying to help him breathe and put blood into him.
Goodness. Oh. Fuck. He's that bad. They had to crack his chest, probably run a central line and basically do a bag for his lungs. Oh, he's fucked. Hey, this guy's not making it. If they had to do this much... Yeah, and he's already coded a few times. If they are already, the only person I can think of offhand that I think would actually survive this would be Scott. Going at this level. This is bad. This is so bad.
Dude came in purple, which, if you come in blue or purple, that means you don't have any oxygen, going through your bloodstream. Probably because your blood's...
Hypoxia.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, talk to the medic.
It's very catchy.
Yes,
so
correct.
So with hypoxia, it means that either A, you lost a lot of blood, B, your blood's not moving, or you're not getting any oxygen, like you're suffocating, right? Because those are the three ways that you would lose oxygenated blood. So obviously, we're like, oh, interesting. Well, I can't go into too much detail about it because it is an active thing. What else can I say? So... I end up calling homicide shortly thereafter. I'm like, he coded? He's losing a lot of blood. You know what? I'm notifying homicide. It's getting to that point where
It's a good
it's
call.
such a serious injury that death is a possibility. Whether or
Yes.
not it's a likelihood, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, because like this is a good call on Rich's part because given the victim's condition that he's already coded twice, even if death, this isn't even like a death is imminent kind of thing. This is like, okay, call homicide, give them a heads up and say, listen, this is what we got. This guy is already coded twice. There's a damn good possibility that he's not going to make it. That way they have the heads up and they can prepare and be ready to roll the moment he does, if and when he does finally pass and the doctors pronounce him, because this is a very rapid and fluid situation. So yeah, of course it's a good call by Rich to like inform them. You know, they can choose. They can make the call of, all right, do we want to roll now, or do we want to? Are we in the middle of something? We really can't break from it, and we gotta keep working this. But we'll be ready to roll the moment the moment if and when he gets pronounced. Yeah, it's a good call.
Put a thumb in it.
I don't think putting a thumb in the lug is going to work on this one, Wolfie, but A+ for effort.
I'm going to call homicide. I call homicide. The guys show up. They're like, what's going on? I'm like, here you go. This is that. They're like, sweet. I go, I haven't even walked inside the house yet. Less footprints you got to worry about. They're like, thank you. We appreciate that. I'm like, not a problem. You know, I'm prepping it just in case you needed to show up. And you did. Here you are. Pat on the back for me. And
Yay, bae.
then I just kind of sit there for like 20 minutes, just kind of wait to get told what to do. Because I don't want to be like a puppy on their heels being like, do you guys need anything? You want me to take photos of the blood? I called photo and evidence already. I helped real good, right? Did I help real good? You know, it's kind of like Ethan when he's fishing for a compliment from us. So
I have been
I
sitting
didn't
here
want to see
silently
Ethan.
asking real questions. Thank you, Rich. I'm
Yeah.
working on myself.
I didn't want to Ethan it up, you know? And so
Which is our next shirt you can buy over at Pepperbox.
you've got the
Ethan it up.
password.
Fuck.
So in my efforts not to Ethan it up and you know, and buy a shitty dog,
Jesus Christ.
I asked the guys like, hey, listen, I'm gonna sit in the car outside, out of your way. When you're done with whatever you got to do, let me know what you want me to do. I'm gonna be right there sitting. Just tell me what you want me to do. They're like, all right. Couple minutes goes by. You know, they come over to the car and they're like, Rich, hey, we got this. We're gonna go to the hospital. I had already told the patrol to send the female subject to our
Yes,
headquarters
Moose.
element so that she could be questioned. And they were like, thanks for that. You know, she's already in a room recording, waiting. And, you know, so they collect all the evidence that's on her and ask her what's going on and what she did. And I can't tell you her statements because that's part of the investigation. But it culminates to this morning when I go in to work. And my buddy calls me up and he's like, hey, did you get my text message? I'm like, no, when did you send it? He's like, oh, just now. I was like, then why are you calling me? Why'd you send the text? Whatever. What are you doing? What's up?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, your guy died yesterday. So it's a homicide now. You're not getting that case back. And I'm like, oh, noted. Thank you.
You're like,
Okay.
Just
cool.
for,
So
for
is
the
it
record.
immediately hand off the second it's
Yeah.
It's just now not yours at all? I don't even know how that shit works.
The way that it works, the way it would have worked is it had he have lived, you know, and it, well, I'll just go with the way that it was until he passed away. So I show up on scene. I see that it's getting a little more hairy. You know, there's a potential for death. I call homicide. They come over and take over the investigation. If the guy lives and ends up making a recovery, they then give me all of the information that they did and completed on that case so far, and then I would continue with it with the district attorney's office as a.
It's cooperation. It's, you know, because essentially he was working as SVU investigation because it was domestic, and then had the potential for homicide. So homicide took over with the evidence collection. And they were starting to do the interviews with the suspect, and if he'd survived, it would basically just be like, okay, the case is not being transferred back over to SVU. It's just coordination between departments with it, or not departments, specialties, effectively speaking. Homicide took over because there was a very strong potential for death. And so all that would happen is they would effectively just take all of their evidence that they've gathered, all the witness statements, all the suspect statements, all their recordings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and would just go over to Rich, and then Rich would then take over in terms of working with the prosecuting attorney, getting charges done. Yeah, interdivision cooperation. Excuse me, that's what I was looking for to know. I couldn't grab the fucking word. The word was escaping me. Yeah, it's interdivision cooperation, and it happens frequently. You will see this happen very frequently, where you have a narcotics bust, and it turns out that someone that in the course of the narcotics bust, somebody ODs. And when someone it's like a fatal OD. And so when something like that happens, they might call in homicide to take over the investigation, because now you have someone that's dead. And if it's determined that it was indeed a death from an OD, then homicide might hand the case back over to NARC to continue with their investigation. Or say you got like a burglary, and the burglary actually has a death involved in it, then they might go over to homicide, and maybe it changes to a robbery, whatever. But it's basically all these different divisions within a police department all work in tandem. It's very common for them to do, because they're all trained in the same degree of evidence collection. They're all trained in the same degree in terms of suspect interviewing. It's just that, their focus is different. And why there's the question might be, yes, why is there a homicide division? Why is there this division? Well, it's because if all of them just worked any fucking case that came across the desk, you'd have no coordination. You'd have basically guys going every which way, and then they have to wrap their head around a different kind of headspace for, okay, now I've got to get my head into this ton of mind space to deal with the narco. I've got to get my head into this place to deal with the burglar or robbery. Get my head into this space to deal with the homicide. It's so they can properly focus their energies by only dealing with one thing. And these two different divisions cooperate with one another frequently. There are some niche skills, Kaibo, certainly. There are certainly some niche skills that that apply to each division, but overarchingly, they are all trained the same in terms of evidence collection and like suspect interviewing and witness interviewing, things like that. There is some speciality in terms of training for each specific one. Narco's probably got has much more training in terms of identifying narcotics, the effects that it has on the body, so on and so forth. Burglary and robberies, detectives are probably trained far more in terms of tool marks, points of entry, things like that. Homicides, they probably train them much more in terms of interview, things like that. So yeah, there is some specialty training, but they all have a general same overarching training in terms of crime scene investigations.
Violent domestic, which honestly, guys in the hospital, so much evidence collected, statements already taken from the suspect. The only thing you would need are statements taken from the victim, and to see if the victim would want to press charges. And then basically from that, you would either indict the person or arrest the suspect. Or if the DA looks at it and says, hey, listen, this is actually clear-cut self-defense. This thing happened and that thing happened. I'm leaving out key details there as to why it could be self-defense there. Because like I said, it's an ongoing case. But that would be the end result.
Hi. That was me. That was I like that. That actually kind of delved into like how Rich operates as a cop. I kind of wish Rich would do more videos. Like the one that we watched where it was like internet sleuths and how they can fuck up an investigation, and where Rich kind of talks about this is how actual Jesus fuck.